All right, so now we are here in Krita, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to produce this in Krita. So I have this here. I'm going to minimize it there because I'm going to be referencing that very soon. But for right now, I'm going to keep things big and open. So let me start. First thing is I change this layer to the name orange by double clicking and typing the word orange in there. And then I'm going to go over to my brush fill, which is this over here. I'm going to highlight it as I go along so that everybody would know the tool that I'm using, which is the brush fill. And there are many ways to use this tool. All right, let me just explain. So I can hit here the brush fill. And then the first thing is I can go here and I can look in the tool options. Pull down this ladder. And I see many things here in the tool options. Now, I don't really want many of these things, but it's just good to know there's advanced color. And what's the color I want? I want a sort of an orangish color. So I can choose it from around the triangle or I can choose it from on the circle here. But you just play around with it till you get the color that you want. All right, so I've gotten that color and dump it in there. And that's what I got. I got a solid fill. Now, what's the next thing I'm going to do? I'm going to now put some squares in there. So I'm going to show you the next tool that I'm going to be using to get these squares in. I'm going to be using this, which is the selection tool. All right, so that's the second tool there I'm using. So I go over to it. And again, I always keep my tool options open so I can see if there's anything in there to read to probably help me. Nothing in there that I want. I'm going to come and click, left click first and drag it to about where I think is a quarter and then let go. That's good enough. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down shift because I want to draw another one and retain that same selection. So I'm going to press shift until a plus comes up onto the screen. That means I can add something else to this selection. All right. So now I've created that while holding shift. Come here and I just click and I just basically estimating. All right. Good. So now that I have those 4 selections there on the screen, what do I want to do? I want to go back to my fill. This time I'm going to change the color to white. So I go over to the advanced color selector. That is something that you need to look at here to change the color. And then I go back to white. And then what I do is I bring it while the selection is there and I just make my white space. Now, when I'm finished, I come up to selection, to select, sorry, and I deselect. Good. So now that I have that, what am I going to do now? I'm going to now minimize my screen here. Set up my screen so that I can see both of these, because I need to see both of these to work, right? So cool. So I know I'm going to be using this brush tool. Oh, and a quick way to move around the screen is to press the space bar and you get the palm. And you can palm yourself by just then pressing the mouse. So you can press the space bar at any time, right? And that's how you can palm yourself around the screen. So I got this set up here and I want to use my freehand path tool. So where would I find this freehand path tool? You would find it right here. That's your freehand path tool. If you look at it, it says, so I'm going to click it, go away and come back, and it just said freehand path tool. Cool, no problem. So let's go into options and see what is there for me to read in here. Well, what can I do with this? I can make a foreground color, background color, or pattern. By the way, the foreground colors are right here. So white is my foreground color. My background color is. So this is my foreground color that I'm going to be using, which is blue, which is right here. And I am going to start making, I'm going to use a new layer. So I'm going to select a layer from here. Now it's interesting. if you want to change anything on this drawing, it is best to select a vector layer. So I'm going to show you when I draw this on paint, what happens. Turn my brush to about brush is about 40. Yeah, I was on my foreground color, so I needed to switch, and my foreground was white. So, all right, I'm going to turn down this now to under 7, and I'm going to choose a brush from out of my top 10 brushes. Probably choose this brush, which is the basic 5 brush, simple brush. Turn it down again. Your settings were different to under 10, probably something like about 5. That's good. And then I can start drawing. And I close the shape, and I make my shapes by just holding down the mouse, and I'm making my shapes, right? Nice organic shapes. Cool. Now, the thing about it is now, if I want to edit these shapes, I can't edit these shapes. There's nothing I can do. These shapes are dead there. Dead as in, I can't edit them. But this is a better way to draw the shapes. So instead of drawing it on a paint layer, it is best to draw it on a vector layer. So to get that, you press this little arrow next to the plus, right here, access the vector layer. Now, all right, good. So let's continue. I was now introducing the use of a vector layer to draw and edit things rather than using a paint layer. How to get to the vector layer? You would press this arrow under the plus symbol and pull down till you see the word vector layer. And that's your vector layer there. So I'm on a vector layer now, and I'm going to be using the same freehand tool. Watch and see what happens as I draw. Okay, so that's a shape. Something similar, nothing different. But now if I want to edit this shape, look, I can come here and I can edit this. I can pull points of this shape. Oh, I can do interesting things. I can say, hey, you know what? I can morph this into whatever I want to morph it into just because I was using a vector layer. So the key to it here was that I used something called a vector layer when I was drawing my shapes. So by doing that, I'm able to morph this into anything, and I can just, by able to edit, what's the tool that I use to edit? So let me show you that tool. The tool to edit is this one here, which is, what does it say? Let me just hover over it, and I will put them onto the screen. So that is in, let me, edit shape tool. So let me put that, and I will show you how I got that. Edit shape tool. Can edit any shape once drawn on a vector. Okay, let's get another control so I can change the color to black. And up this to about 10. Edit shape tool can edit any shape once drawn on a vector layer. All right. So this is the edit shape tool. Okay, who's that? I need to mute somebody's mic.
Sorry.
Okay, let us continue. Now, so that was the edit shape tool, can edit any shape, and that is up here, once drawn on a vector layer. Again, I come over here to these are paint layers. I can't do anything with this. I can't do anything with this, so what I'm going to do is just simply delete that. Now with these vector layers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these in place here. Ta-da. How did I do that? I used the transform a layer or a selection. I went to that tool, or I could have gone to the move tool. But what I don't like moving is, that's all it does, it moves. But if I go to this transform tool, I can also move, or I can also make this smaller by going to any one of the corners until I see these two arrows, hold down shift and pull it. So that's edit shape tool, can edit any shape. So what tool did I use to draw this? I use a, what tool did I use? I use a freehand path tool. So I will put here, tool used to draw, tool use freehand path tool. So that's that first one done. That's cool. What I think you're gonna do there is I'm gonna quickly save demonstration, put it in that tutorial and hit save. All right, cool. Now, what's the next thing I need to do? Well, the next thing I need to do is I'm going to explore a tool called the Bezier Curve tool, right? The Bezier Curve tool. So where do we find that? Let me just clear this off the screen now. And let's go to find the Bezier Curve tool. The Bezier Curve tool is this tool right here. Right there. I'm going to highlight it, click it, and it should come up the name. Bezier Curve tool. All right. So again, I'm going to come here and put this on a new vector layer. And we're going to draw. I'm on the tool. And how to draw with this tool. The first thing is this tool is used to draw curves. That's what the name Bezier Curve tool. So I can click this tool, and that's my first point. I can draw, and at my second point, click and drag. And when I drag, I get a little curve. So I'll do that again. Click at my first point and just move. My second point, I'm going to click and hold, and I'm able to drag it like that and get a curve. And then this curve continues, and then I can click and drag till I'm ready to click again and drag. Stop, click and drag, and basically clicking and dragging till I get the formation that I want. That's what this tool is used for, freehand curves, right? And then how do I end it? Double click there, so where it started, and that's a shape. So that there is the Bezier freehand curve tool. Now, there's another way to draw with it. I'll show you. Now, say if you want to sculpt out a shape, you can just draw by clicking just a boring shape or any like rectilinear shape like that. And then what you can do is you can come back and edit the shape again by using the edit shape tool. So here we go, we edit the shape, we click the shape, and then we just come here where it says the finger, we point and push, we push and push out the middle or push out any point there. And we turn that into anything we want to turn this into. All right. So that's a shape there, so that I can work with. Cool. So then when we finish, we get out of that. So that's the Bezier shape tool there. I just went through it. That's the Bezier curve tool. I write it in there, and then I increase the size to 10, change the color to black over here. And then what I do, I save, then I close. Then I place it in by just grabbing it. I'll put it here, the Bezier curve tool. Right? Again, I'll put here must be used on a vector layer. Must be best used on a vector layer. Keep stressing that because y'all might not be able to edit if it's not on a vector layer. So just move this up. Just move it. So now I got my two shapes there. Let's look and see what I can do. Okay, I can duplicate and transform. So what does this mean? Well, I can come here and the transform again. This is a nice tool. It is able to do a lot of things. Right here, this tool here, the transform. I'm going to click it. Oh, well, I got a lot of things. What I'm going to do with this I think this is on, I'm going to put this on a separate layer. So I'm going to put a new vector layer there, come back to this layer 2, grab this, Control X. Okay, what I did is I cut it, and I'm going to paste it now again. So I should have used Control C, not really Control X, but Control X you can also use to cut things on, that's a keyboard shortcut by pressing the Control on your key, on your actual keyboard, and then pressing C or pressing X. So now it is here on a layer by itself. That's where I want it. And what am I going to do? I'm going to transform it. So now it's here, I can move it all around. And when I say transform, I can drag here and make it large. I can drag there and rotate it. I can even do some funky things like stretch it there, stretch it by just, but I don't really want to do all that. What I want to do, so I just Control Z to go back to its neutral position. What I want to do is I want to click it, and then I want to right click and go to something called mirror, horizontal. So again, I'm able to change that there, all right? If I go mirror vertical, I'm able to rotate it and flip it. So what I can do is now it's a new layer. I can now, it's a vector layer over here, layer 3. I can duplicate this by going and right clicking on this layer and bring up this menu, go to duplicate layer or mask. I've duplicated it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play around with duplication, and I'm going to scale it down. First, I'm going to flip it. So I'm going to come here and transform and flip it horizontally. Oh, wow, no. I think I need to flip it vertically. Oh, wow, I think I lost the direction. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll just shift and bring it in. Okay, it's the same there, same thing. And I'll put it there in the middle. So let me go through that again. What I did is I just transformed. I click there and I came up to the corner and I hold down shift so that when I pull this in, it scales in at a uniform actual scaling. So everything comes in at the same ratio. Then when I'm finished, I just grab around here in the middle. When I see my 4-point compass, that means I can carry it anyway, and I put it in there. So that is how I duplicated it, and I also scaled it down so it fits in there. All right, so what did I do here? I'm going to come back here now to this. Duplicate layer and use the transformation tool to scale. All right. So that's a nice little note there. It's probably a bit too big and bulky. So what I'll do is I'll just bring that down to about 8. Just moving things around right there so that we can read, you know, right? There's, you know, there. Cool. So that's it there. And now what we're going to do now is I'm going to stop here. Now, first I'm going to show you how to put a color in them. So those were the two main difficult tools. The last two tools, Ellipse tool and the dynamic brush tool. I'll show you guys. So let's go to the dynamic brush tool, which is this tool right here. I won't really recommend you all use it, but just try it out. It's not my favorite tool, but just get an experience of it. This tool deals with a lot of masks. So if I put up the mask up to here and I just draw, it's you don't have much control over it, right? So if I put up the drag up to here too and I just draw like that, sometimes You can make it, as you're drawing, it makes curves. You don't have much control over it, but it's a good experience to know where you could probably use this. If you wanted to use this to draw a spiral, you might be able to get that drawn properly. It will still continue to drag as you let go of the cursor. That's what I found as an experience with it. All right, so let me just draw the shape that I drew. So just put it back to about here, and let me just draw the shape. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror this shape at the same time too. So I'm using this tool, and then I'm also going to turn on the mirror here. All right, so I'm going to turn on two tools at the same time. So I can go like that, and I'm going to bring my mirror line, palm it, and put it right here down through the center of that sheet. Look at what I'm going to do. Go back to my brush tool, select a brush down here. Let's see what's the brush down here that's best used for this. It could be anything. I just use this standard brush, which is a basic 5 size. And I'll put this up at about 56, yeah. And then I just start drawing. All right, and that's it. So I get a mirror image while I have on the mirror there. And then what I'm going to do, so I'm going to go to the next mirror now. And I'm going to bring this one here and bring the first one there. So I create a crisscross. So I put two of my mirrors there. Nice. On my mirror lines, just like that. And I'm going to start drawing using the same dynamic brush. I'm going to turn it down now, the size. Turn it down to under 10. And just start drawing. So I make a little expression there. I'll do that again. I'll tell you, I went here and I use these two mirrors. I combine them by turning them on, the two mirrors. And then when you turn these on, you see these two lines here. You just palm them and put them in place where you want to put them in place to get what you want. And you have your two mirror lines on. I was using dynamic brush tool. And I pull down my drag a bit, and I'll pull down my mask a bit too. And I just nice little pattern like that you can get with just by using dynamic and mirror. All right, so now I turned them off because I don't want them anymore. All right, so the bad thing about that is I did all that on my paint layer. That was a mistake. So now if I wanted to edit, I can't edit anything. Damn, I can't edit because it's on the paint layer. I wasn't. All right, so now let's move on to the next one. So I just clear these off. And I did that. So we did the dynamic brush, and we put that there like that. We did the dynamic brush. So that's the dynamic brush tool with the mirror tool. All right. So let me just put that at that. Save out of there and put that somewhere around here. You still probably see it probably good. And what I can do is turn down the scale of this layer. Right. So now we're making way. We're about to go on to our last tool, which is our Polygon tool and our Ellipse tool. Now, what I'm going to do so it doesn't trick me again or trick myself, I'm going to create a new vector layer. Come here, so I'm on a new vector layer and I can start drawing. So I'm going to use the Ellipse tool, which is right here. Click it. And what do I want? I want no fill brush. All right, so let's go. How does this look? I'm going to change this to probably about 10. Good, yeah. And that's the shape there. So I just click and drag. Now, if I want to keep the shape pure, if I want a circle rather than an ellipse, I need to hold down the shift button. The shift button changes the shape into a circle. So I'll say that again, the shift button while drawing. So you click and you press the shift button and it changes the shape into a pure circle if you wanted circles, right? If you wanted circles, you use shift. If you just wanted the ellipse, you let go of the shift and you can get an ellipse. So that is this tool here, which is called the ellipse tool. So I'm going to put an arrow to that. Ellipse tool, that's what we're exploring now. And the good thing is we can also put a fill in this one time. Like I can come here and I go foreground fill, and I can put in a fill in this anytime I draw it like that. So that's a fill. If I want to change the color of the fill, I can put it like that, and I get another fill there. So when I draw, or I can take off and go to no fill, and it would just draw from the color that is there in the foreground, or I can choose the background. If I wanted to choose from the foreground to the background, you press these arrows here, and you can toggle from foreground to background just by these arrows there. All right. So that is the ellipse tool. I want to get rid of a few of these ellipse on so I can write. Right. So I can write and move on, right? And what I'm going to do is just go to the Polygon tool here, which is right here, Polygon. And again, I've drawn all these on. So you just drag. And the thing about this Polygon is no matter wherever you go and you press it, it always returns home. That is the thing about a Polygon. It always returns home to where it starts, right? That is the thing about it. You start there and you go all the way here, it returns home. So the next thing about this other Polygon, which is right here, which is a Polygon line, a Polygon tool, this doesn't return home. So let me show you. So if I draw, click, 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 it stops there. And I double click to activate it, it stops there. So one returns to where it starts and one doesn't return to where it starts. So that's the basic difference between these. So I'm going to keep this back there on the screen. I'm going to clear this off. And I'm going to highlight the tools that we just explored. Those two tools there, the Polygon, one returns home and one doesn't return home, right? That's the best way. One closes the shape then and one doesn't close the shape. So you would know, you can just select which one. I usually just select, most of the time when I'm drawing it, I draw it to close the shape. That's the truth. So I just select this one and it closes the shape. And now it's on a vector layer, so I can come here and I can play around with these shapes. Right. This is on a vector layer also. So I can also, what can I do here with this as a circle? Well, I can't do anything with these. Oh yeah, I could do some interesting things like that. You know? Because they're on vector layers. That's a good thing. If they weren't on vector layers, I couldn't do anything with these, right? So I'm just showing you the beauty in working with things on vector layers. All right, so that brings it to the end basically. So what I'm going to do is just going to write a message here, and this is the Polygon tools and ellipse tool. So that's the two tools I just used, Polygon and ellipse tools. Save, close. And I think everybody knows how to write onto the screen. So just put that in that corner. And the good thing is when you have things on a vector layer, you can move them around easily, right? Yeah, you can move them around easily. Trust me. Because they're on vector layers. They respond better too. All right, so now that this is on a vector layer, what I could do is, can I put a fill in here now? Can I put a gradient? Let me just see. Can we put a fill into a vector there? No, it's not responding. You cannot use this tool with, look at it's telling me you cannot use this tool with the selected layer type. So in order for me to use this tool, probably I will have to convert this layer, quickly convert the layer, come down here, right click, convert to a paint layer, and then I can probably put any gradient in there as I see fit, right? Like that. So that's the one drawback. But once you're finished with the vector layer, you can convert them to a paint layer. And then you can put the amount of paint and stuff so on them. Once you're finished with the selection, don't forget to come here, select, deselect. And that is this little tutorial here. All right. So I am going to stop. So this brings us to the end of another demonstration, guys. Please like and share the video and subscribe to the channel.